After We Collided is, of course, the second film in the After Film series. Based on the book by Anna Todd, After We Collided is directed by Roger Kumble, who has directed such films as Cruel Intentions 1 and 2, Just Friends, College Road Trip, Furry Vengeance, and many episodes of television, including from such shows as Pretty Little Liars, Suits, among many others. The film is written by Mario Celia and Anna Todd. The film stars Josephine Langford and Hero Fiennes Tiffin reprising their roles as Tessa Young and Hardin Scott from the first film, Louise Lombard, Dylan Sprouse, Candace King, Charlie Weber, Max Ragone, Selma Blair, Inanna Sarkis, Shane Paul McGee, Khadijah Red Thunder, Pia Mia, Samuel Larson, Dylan Arnold, Karima Westbrook, and Rob Estes. Now, when I first said that I was going to watch and then, talk about After We Collided on Twitter, a lot of my followers wondered if I would be able to give my brutally honest thoughts, given the fact that I had just been so hyped for it, that I was really so hyped for it, and they wonder oh, will you really be able to give your brutally honest thoughts? Even if the film sucks, are you such a cult member of this fandom, of this series, that if the film sucks, will you let us know? And I made a promise to my followers, just like I'm going to make a promise to you right now. I will give my brutally honest thoughts no matter what. This review will be broken down into 3 separate categories: my brutally honest thoughts, aka my negative thoughts, positive thoughts, and torn on thoughts. Now, there are things in here that will be taken into topic videos. If you hear anything you want me to expand on in a topic video, hit the comments and let me know. My brutally honest thoughts are this. If I'm being brutally honest and not holding anything back, it is a 4 or 5 out of 10. If I'm, going to completely wipe away anything that I just said, and I'm just going to be brutally easy on it, it goes up to about a 7. One of the main criticisms I had with this movie is that it's just way too damn rushed. It is way too rushed. If I didn't read the book, I would have been so lost. Now, when you're adapting a book to film, the film should still be able to stand on its own 2 feet without having to read the book. Now, you can go back and read the book. I mean, if you want to expand on some things, if you want to, learn a little bit more about, what the film is actually talking about, but you should still be able to follow the film on its own. And I feel like in terms of that, this film failed across the board, because like I just said, if I did not read the book, I would have been so lost watching this film. Joe, Hero, Louise, Shane, Max, Charlie, Candace, Karima, Selma, Dylan, they all killed it. The cast killed it. Now, keeping with my brutally honest thoughts, let's go through some things. The music was really overbearing. The music was so overbearing at times that I could not even hear the dialogue, especially in the Tessa leaves a message for Hardin during the 9 or 11 days. Now, that is actually a pretty big moment from the book. That is actually, the 9 or 11 days is actually a huge fan, expected moment from the book. And I just feel like they really dropped the ball on the 9-11 days. They dropped it. There's no other way around it. They blew it. And I could have ended, my watching of the film right there, and it was I'm going to give you a big fat F. And I almost wanted to, because it's that is the one scene that you have to nail. In terms of the emotions, that is the one scene that all of the fans are expecting. That is the reason why a lot of the fans are, having that box of tissues right beside them, ready to be a weeping puddle of a mess on the floor, and you ruined it. You blew that entire scene, and even the big emotional crux of that scene, you blew. One of the big moments during the 9/11 days is when Tessa leaves a message for Hardin, and I could not even hear it because the music was that overbearing, and Joe was killing it. I could see it on her face, with the emotions, any emotions that I felt, it was because of Joe and Hero, and that's it. And so it was here is this, amazing queen just completely slaying this moment. And you're ruining it with the music. Shut off the music. Or you know what? If you don't want to shut off the music, at least lower it a little bit so I can hear what she is saying. Moving on to the New Year's Eve sequence and the acting from the frat gang. I'm going to go ahead and be honest. The acting from the frat gang was rough. I mean, it was rough to sit through. And I'm talking about Inanna Sarkis, Khadijah Red Thunder, Pia Mia, Samuel Larson, and Samuel Larson's girlfriend. Like, that was rough. It was just painful to sit through those scenes because of the acting from the gang. Again, Joe and Hero, they were actually putting in like legit performances from, in those moments, but the gang was like completely taken down in terms of the acting. One of the big problems that I had, other than that, one of the big problems that I had during the New Year's Eve party sequence was the fight between Tessa and Molly. Now, look, that is from the book. That is a scene that I was anticipating from the book, and I wanted to see Tessa go Little Ortiz on Molly's ass. But here's the problem. Even with the book fans, one of the major criticisms of that scene, even from the book, is the slut shaming. The slut shaming from Tessa to Molly. And you know what? I've even seen fans in the lead up to the film, coming out, I saw fans on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram, like pretty much like from the very beginning saying, please change this, please soften this, please do something different here. But you know what? They tripled down on it. I could not believe that they actually found a way to make the scene that much worse. To pretty much throw away any criticisms that the fans have had and just say, you know what? Well, we're actually going to make it worse. And when you wonder, how the hell could they have made that scene any worse? It was Hardin, mouthing, "You are." Because in the book, Hardin shuts up. Hardin is quiet during that scene. He never calls Molly a whore during the actual back and forth between Molly and Tessa in the book. But in the movie, Hardin just had to, put in his 2 cents and say, "You are." Or he didn't actually say, he mouthed, "You are." And I was just like, really? And that will be a topic video. That will be a big topic video where I will talk a little bit more about that. The next big thing about the New Year's Eve party sequence is the Sam and his girlfriend, Zed and his girlfriend talking about the tattoos. What was that? Did those two even realize that they were on camera? Because it didn't even sound scripted. It sounded improvised. Now, I know that in the book, there is a scene where Zed and Tessa talk about tattoos at the New Year's Eve party sequence. But here's the thing. If you can't do the book as is, don't do the equivalent of it with a different character. But at least write them some dialogue, because it was clear that this was improvised, that this scene between Sam and his girlfriend was completely improvised, and I wonder if they even knew the camera was on them. Another big, what the actual fork was that is the Shining twins. And when I say the Shining twins, I'm talking about Khadijah Red Thunder and Pia Mia, because a lot of their dialogue was spoken in unison, and I want to know who thought that was a good idea, because all I could think about the entire time that they were talking, especially that cherry vodka sour, even that's giving me nightmares remembering that. All I could think about was The Shining, with those two, horrifying twins in The Shining, where they're like, "Come play with us, Danny." That is the level, and I was just wondering, whose bright idea was that? Who thought that was a good idea? Who thought that was funny? It wasn't, and that should have been left on the cutting room floor, or you should have done a take 2 where you said, okay, you know what, this didn't work. Let's just have them say the dialogue by themselves. And, of course, this is something that I've already mentioned, but you know what? The pacing was so fast that I literally, at one point, had to double-check that I didn't accidentally press fast forward. Because from the moment the film opens, once we get past the dream opening, where they're on the dock and then Hardin wakes up in the car, but once we get to Tessa's first day, from then on, it is Russian. It's literally has that pace of then this happened, 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 then this happened. Like that's what the pacing is from pretty much like from the jump. But the worst, when it came to the pacing, the worst offender was the 9 or 11 days. Even that felt rushed. The one scene from the book that the fans are expecting, like the big fan moment, that is the scene that you need to slow down and let us marinate in those emotions. But they even rushed that. And once we got past the 9 or 11 days, it was on extreme fast forward, and they were just really rushing from then on. Now, when it came to the Christmas party scene where Trish, Tessa, and Hardin go visit Ken, Karen, and, at the party at Ken's house, I was on Hardin's side. Like, in the entire fight between him and Ken, like, all of his behavior during the Christmas party scene, I was on his side, and it really feels like from the film that I wasn't meant to be. That I was meant to say, like, oh, look at Hardin being an asshole. Oh, look at Hardin being drunk. Oh, look at Hardin, ruining everything. But it was just like, I was on his side. Like, everything. I mean, I was just really on his side. And here's something, another big criticism. There should have been more Landon scenes. We should have gotten the Landon Hardin hockey game. And Shane, of course, was amazing. He knocked it out of the park, and I'm really going to miss him as Landon. I mean, Shane was just completely wasted in these films, and I am never going to forgive the production for that. Because Shane and Landon is actually one of my favorite characters from the book, and the Landon-Tessa relationship is one of my favorite relationships from the book, and I'm just never going to forgive them for completely botching and that whole bit. And you know what? I wasn't a fan of the fucking Trevor moment. The scene of them in the Seattle hotel room where Hardin goes, fucking Trevor! Like, that felt like such a fan servicey moment. They could have just, like, naturally brought in the fucking Trevor, but no, they even did it in slow motion, which is actually kind of really funny when you think about it, because we saw a behind-the-scenes video of, him saying fucking Trevor, and it sounded so much better. But with the way how they just, like, shoehorned it in there, it really, truly felt like just pure fan service. Like, they knew that the fans were expecting it, so let's go ahead and rush it in. And actually, at that point, it felt like Hero should have paused the movie at that point, looked at the camera, and said, there, I said it. Can you please stop asking me now? Like, are you happy now? I said it. Now, one of the main criticisms that I had, during the first movie, and it really did carry over from to the second, is the fact that you were giving us scenes from the book, more in the sequel, mind you, but I'm just not feeling the same emotions that I did while reading the book. Just trying to cram in fan service, like fan favorite moments. They are giving us fan favorite moments while not really understanding what made them work so well in the book. Yes, I recognize that moment. Okay, I know I keep mentioning the 9 or 11 days, but I'm never going to get over that. The 9 or 11 days, it's like, okay, yes, I recognize the 9 or 11 days, but you're rushing it. And it literally feels like, here's the 9 or 11 days rushed that you recognized. And at the end of the day, you need more than just, here is a rushed moment from the book. No, expand this stuff. Slow it down. Give us time to breathe with these scenes. There is a reason why these scenes are fan favorite moments in the book, and you completely botched a lot of these scenes because you just wanted to rush in and cram in a lot of the favorite scenes without really understanding what made them work in the book. All right, so yeah, let's talk about the Trevor character, played by Dylan Sprouse. Given the fact that Trevor is not going to be in After We Fell or After Ever Happy, at least on paper right now, there were some really, really, really weird moments with Trevor that really felt like they were going to switch Trevor and Steph. That the whole Steph and Tessa controversial scene in After We Fell, like that very dark scene in After We Fell, like, there were times when I was watching this where I truly felt like, are they making the switch? Like, are they, like, is that the direction that they're going with Trevor? Because, like, they took Trevor into some dark places. And the worst part is that it never really felt like they knew that that's what they were doing. I think that they legitimately thought that they were actually making some funny stuff, but it was like there was like a lot of gaslighting going on in terms of the Trevor character. There was like a lot of abuse, like just like a lot of abusive nature to Trevor that I legit thought that they were going to take him in a much darker direction. Here's something else. The ice skating scene was too rushed. Again, a scene that we all know and love from the book. But again, it's like you're including this moment, but you're not really understanding what made the scene work in the book. This is just like, this is just a moment that I missed from the book, and I wish that they really included it. During the Vance engagement party scene, I missed Tessa eavesdropping on Smith and Hardin. Actually, I missed it during the babysitting Smith scene too. Was hoping they would include these scenes in the movie. Oh well. And I feel like I'm a broken record at this point, but I wasn't a fan of the 9 or 11 days. It was way too rushed. That's not a scene you rush. Don't include it if you aren't going to treat it with the respect it deserves. Now, after smacking, this movie around for a little bit, you might be surprised to know that I do have positive thoughts. There are actually a lot of positive thoughts that I do have on this, and let's just go through them. And let's start with where you obviously got to start. Let's start with the absolute biggie, Josephine Langford. She continues to be the most amazing thing about this franchise. I will never get tired of praising her. She lights up the screen every moment that she's on screen. When she cries, I cry. Yes, Josephine Langford continues to be the shining light in this film. Yes. I mean, like that is that's like the biggest, the most important positive that I can always say. Josephine motherforking Langford. Hey, Hardin / Hero finds Tiffin actually got dialogue this time around. I mean, he got more than just, stare and brood. I mean, like, he actually got, more to do this time, and he was actually able to bring more of Book Hardin to life. I mean, more in this film than in the first. So, hey, good. Yay, finally, making progress. Despite talking about the rushed and zero emotions I felt other than from Joe and Hero, this film did feel closer to the book than the first. Hesse felt closer to their book counterparts, closer, but we still got a ways to go, but it did feel like this was probably a little bit closer to what I wanted from an after film adaptation, despite what I did say in my brutally honest thoughts. And of course, here's another biggie. Shane Paul McGee. My baby, my king, I'm gonna miss him. He really is Book Landon brought to life. Again, I wish we got more scenes because Landon and Tessa and Landon and Hardin are easily my favorite relationships from the book. And of course, I have to bring up Louise Lombard. She is the perfect Trish. Like, again, that is another person that feels like this character taken from the book and plopped down in front of the screen. I mean, she was just pitch perfect as Trish, and I love the scenes between her and Tessa and her and Hardin, despite it, again, being too rushed. Over the moon that she is coming back for After We Fell and After for Happy. And of course, I got to talk about, my baby, Smith. I got to talk about Smith. Smith, protect this kid at all costs. Despite missing some key Hardin and Smith scenes, he still made such an impact. I loved him and Hero together. When he was just like, fuck shit, baby. Like, oh my God, I died. Like, I love Maxis Smith. And I hate the fact that he's not coming back for the next two films. And I'm sorry, but Rob Estes is more like Ken from the books, like the Ken that I picture while reading the books, than Peter Gallagher. When I see Rob Estes, I see Ken. When I see Peter Gallagher, I still see Sandy Cohen, so I cannot get past my love for the OC / Sandy Cohen. And you know what? Sue me. I actually like the yoga scene. I'm sorry, it was just so cute, and I love Joe and Hero in it. Sue me again. I actually enjoyed Tessa drunk dialing Hardin, and we got like a lot of little bits, of just seeing like just how funny Jo is. It's like, I'm the commander. I mean, I love Jo, and she's funny, and she needs to be in more comedies. Hey, they actually read the books this time and realized how the Hardin and Molly relationship should be portrayed. Finally! Yes, they finally understand how the Hardin and Molly relationship should be portrayed on screen. We actually got Hessa fights this time. Multiple, actually. I also really enjoyed the film does call out that Tessa isn't completely innocent in the fights. Again, closer to the book. It was really nice seeing Selma Blair again, even if it was for only one scene. I really appreciated that they were able to get her back, but I do agree with the recast, and it's what they needed to do going forward. I'll miss her. Despite missing a lot / wanting it to be a lot longer, I actually thought that the ice skating was a really cute, sweet, funny scene between Hessa. Which brings us to something that I really loved about the movie. I actually loved all of the soft Hessa moments. I actually really loved all the soft Hessa moments. Office, bed, ice skating, yoga, etc. I wanted more, and they still really need to find that balance between the sexiness and the soft, moments, and they just still have not found that balance yet. There were really no moments where I was going, how did no one catch that? Because if you remember correctly, in the first film, there is a scene where as Tessa is walking up on Hardin during the engagement party, you can actually see a woman walking backwards. So at least on paper, there was like really no moments where I was just sitting there going like, how did no one catch that? There is an extra in the frat party scenes, but I'm actually learning to really love him. And I did love, a lot of his facial expressions. And he actually is really growing on me. Cursing. We actually got cursing in this movie. Someone remembered that Hardin actually curses throughout the book. And of course, now we got to move on to the torn on thoughts. While the music is lesser, I'm hesitant to criticize since I read part of the lawsuit between the After Team and Avrion Pictures, where it flat out said that it was due in part to Avrion Pictures. Actually, it was completely due to Avrion Pictures not paying their music bills on the first, so it was harder to get the music this time around. Another torn-on thought is definitely Anna's cameo. If you're watching the film, it's during the Seattle Club sequence, and it's Anna, Jen Gibgot, and what turns out to be Roger's daughter, where Roger's daughter asked Anna, so have you written anything? And she's like, oh, this and that. And it was like, I was just really torn on that cameo. I mean, yeah, get your cameo, but I just don't know how to feel about that cameo. The Tessa Molly fight. Yes, I got the scene. Yes, I got that the scene is from the book. Hated the slut shaming. If it's a Cruel Intentions tie-in like I think it is, I'm less torn and I love the scene. If it's not, then it goes to the negative. The sex. It's hot. It's great. But if I'm going to smack around 365 days for just because you have sex, it does not make, hot sex scenes does not mean that you're a great movie, then I have to hit After We Collided a little bit because I'm fair. And yeah, because I'm fair. It's closer to the book, but it really did feel like they were making up for the first movie, which dovetails into my biggest torn. A lot of this film really did feel like they were trying to make up for the first movie. The language and sex, while both accurate to the book, felt like at times an overcorrection and reaction to the first film. Dylan as Trevor. If we aren't gonna get the Trevor Steph switch, then moments with him don't make any sense. Major creep / Jack Hyde vibes from him. Karima, Candace, Charlie, Rob, I love all of these actors. And I love these characters. They had nothing to do in this movie. I mean, Karima, Candace, and Charlie, they had nothing to do in this movie. And I hated that they still have not given us the Karen and Tessa relationship in the movies, and they probably never will. Again, longer movies are your friend. And actually, you know what? A lot of these criticisms that I have, or a lot of these torn on thoughts, a lot of this would be fixed if they would just make a longer movie. Fingers crossed that Castile Landon really understands that After We Fell needs to be a lot longer, and I'm predicting that it will be well over 2 hours. But again, longer movies are your friends. Despite having adult language and adult sex scenes, adult situations, it didn't really feel like an adult movie. It felt like a child who learned to curse for the first time and learned about sex scenes for the first time, etc. Despite this going into the torn column, it could also go in the negative/brutally honest thoughts column. The car crash. It was, again, I've said this earlier, it's gut-wrenching in the book. Didn't feel nothing. I mean, it was gut-wrenching in the book. Rushed in the... Oh, I'm sensing a theme here. I needed the Vance/Harden discussion outside the party. She went out the front door, and that little look isn't enough to set up Vance and Harden. As you can see, I have a lot of thoughts on this film. Negative, positive, and torn. I promised that I would be honest, and I hope that I delivered. Will I rewatch the movie? Absolutely. Was it a perfect movie? No, but none are. Better than the first? Close, but not there yet from a book perspective. So yeah, those are my thoughts on the film. Like I said, if I'm going to be brutally honest about this film, and if I'm going to be brutally hard about this film, it's going to be a 4 or 5 out of 10. If I'm going to go brutally easy on it, it's going to be a 7, but of course I'm going to go brutally hard on it, and it is a 4 out of 5 out of 10 because I expect better. And you know what? This franchise really could have been something special, and now through 2 films, you blew it. And so now, they really have to stick the landing, and I'm hoping that they stick the landing in these final 2 films, because these first 2 films really dropped the ball in a lot of ways, and there are a lot of things from the first film that, that they, did not do in the second film that they should have. If you could just take the first, like the cinematography, the music, the softness of the first film, and combine it with the, with the hard R language and the sex of the second film, like you would have something. You would really have something here. And I'm hoping that that's what they do for After We Fell and After We're Happy. So jump down to the comment section below. Let me know what you think. As always, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for your continued love and support. As always, remember, if you like what you see here and you want to see more, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and let's go through all the stuff that you'll be able to find on this channel right now. So I will be bringing you guys constant updates on After We Fell and After We're Happy. And I will be bringing you guys so many updates that you guys will be begging me to stop the updates. I will be doing topic videos catching up with After We Collided, so expect those. And like I said, if there is anything that you guys want to hear me talk about, or actually expand on in topic videos from this review, then, go ahead and jump down to the comment section and leave it there. But I will be catching up on everything. I am happy to have the channel back. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Keep liking, keep subscribing, keep sharing. My name is Charles. Welcome back to the After Series channel. I'll see you later, After fans, After naters. Take care, y'all. Love you.